Hey, loves.
Welcome to Sierra and Ryan.
Talk the talk. Sierra and Ryan is all about putting book talkers at the center of the story.
And we're here to find out all their main character moments. My name is Ryan at Rye_Brary on TikTok, and my incomparable co-host is...
I am Sierra at cc.b.reading on TikTok as well. Ryan and I are both book talkers who want to know so much more about other book talkers just like you and get to know them and what they really enjoy and see their true personalities.
There's so many good ones, too. It's been so much fun. Today is super exciting. Today we have at Book Poppy of Golden Lab Books of Queens, New York.
I am so excited to talk to him.
I'm really excited.
He has a very, very vast collection of books that I'm learning about. He knows so much, so I'm really interested to see like what his whole process is behind picking new books, and how many books is he reading at this point? I'm all around excited for everything. How about you?
I agree. I think I was just swiping through my For You page when Adrian popped up, and it was initially that good New York voice that kind of grabbed me. And then you go to the page, dynamic and charming, and the store looks incredible. And then Adrian started doing the BIPOC replacements for classics.
Yes.
And I was into it. So bringing, more BIPOC-centered stories, versions of the classics. So that last year I read The Chosen and the Beautiful by Niveau, which was a Great Gatsby retelling. And I had found that from Golden Lab Books and Adrian. So I'm excited on so many levels.
I think he's doing some really great work, and I'm really just excited to talk to him about his entire process, getting the store open. And I'm not going to lie, he's very easy on the eyes. So being very honest, I let it be known if you're hot, I will tell you that you are hot. So I'm very excited to talk to him.
I have yet to find one book talker that I do not think is gorge. So I just think Booktok is a beautiful kid. Don't you think so?
I think
book talkers are hot. It's a hot
we're
community.
Good looking. Yes, super
true.
hot. Well, friend, I think it's time for us to have a talk.
Let's talk the talk.
Hey guys, and we are back, and our very awesome guest is finally here. Everyone give a round of applause to Adrian, aka Book Poppy on TikTok. Hi.
Hi everybody. Hey
welcome,
everyone.
Welcome.
Hi.
Thank you so much.
I'm still not used to people saying my name, the username.
Oh yeah, they don't hit you with the hey Book Poppy in the street.
Oh, they do, and I get embarrassed. It's embarrassing every time. But thank you guys for having me. Thank you guys so much.
We're excited to have you. So quickly, you have amassed 25,000 followers on TikTok, which is huge, especially for someone who is a bookstore owner. Give us the details. How did you get there?
Okay. So I think I started almost a year ago now. Almost a year ago. Like, I started actually, I think I posted like one or two in the last Christmas. Like in December. And I was like, oh, it's okay. It's cool. Now a lot of people viewed it. I was like, whatever. And I was like, wait, I need to get into it. Because at the beginning, it was actually the name of my bookstore, which is the Golden Lab Bookshop, right?
Yes.
And then I was like, I don't want people to think I'm trying to sell them books. I just want to talk about books. I literally just want to recommend books. I want you guys to ask me for things and all that. So then I changed it. And I changed it to this username, Book Poppy. And the reason, there's a bunch of reasons why I did it. One, I was just trying to be goofy. I didn't think I was going to ever get this following, ever. But I also feel like people look at reading like, especially young kids, they look at it like it's boring or something.
Yes.
And I was like, you know what? Let me bring some flavor to it. Let me make it fun. Like, I can dance. I can listen to everything. I can chill. I can hang out. And I can read books. Like, we can all do that. We're multifaceted people.
Absolutely.
Right? So then I was like, I picked this name. And then it just went from there. And then I just started recommending all these books that I usually like recommending to people on the street or like in the bookshop. And it blew up. And I still remember the first one that blew up. It was... I don't know if you guys remember. There was like an Anthony Ramos sound from the movie. Oh, when he was fighting with his girlfriend.
Yes. Was it the
In the Heights?
Yes.
Yes.
In the Heights.
Okay.
Yes.
I used that sound, and I literally just resaid his words, and I said, "Oh, you guys like spicy romances," and that's literally how it popped off. That's how it popped off.
The smut girlies show up for that. So that does not surprise me at all. That, of course, that is what made you go viral. Those girls are out and about. They're looking to make some laugh.
I was shocked. I was getting comment after comment, and I was like, "Oh, is this how it starts?" And then it never stopped, thankfully. So
Yeah.
that's cool. But that's what started it all. I always remember whenever I see Anthony Ramos, I go, "Thank you, man. Thank you for that move. Thank you for those lines."
Adrian, how long did you have the shop before the TikTok?
2019 is when I established it. So it was more of a pop-up situation. So I would just pop up and bring all these books that I've acquired, 50% used books, 50% new books, but they were all like BIPOC authors.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, I was selling like everyone though. Like if it was a bestseller, a Colleen Hoover thing, all those type of books, I would put it in there, right? And after that, I pop up. Pandemic hit. We opened up the shop, in the pandemic, which was weird, but we did it. And yeah, and then we've been going from there. We have the whole shelves everywhere. It's a community-based sort of store, so you get all sorts of POC, women-owned businesses, all sorts of different things.
So I know you said when you first started that you were selling everyone. What made you decide to kind of like niche down and do BIPOC only? Did you see that there was a need for that, especially like in your community? Because are you from Queens?
I'm born and raised.
Born and raised in Queens, so you have a bookshop in your home. You're in your hometown. That's awesome. First of all, awesome. But what made you want to open up a bookshop there in your community? That's so special and important.
So it always was going to be just BIPOC authors. I always wanted to be that, right? But I just knew to get people in the door, I needed to have like the bestseller list, the things in the New York Times. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a 50-50. It's a business. I got you guys. So I did it half and half. And then the reason why I want to do BIPOC books is because I literally didn't read a book. And I never noticed it. Because you know how some kids can look at TV and say, why doesn't this kid look like me? I never had that moment when I was a kid growing up. I literally just read everybody. Yeah. Everyone. It just never hit me. And when I was older, I realized, kids can realize that very young. And I missed the boat on that. Yeah. So when I was in college, I read The Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde by Juan Diaz. And
is he frozen?
Was that me?
There you are.
That was you.
Damn, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Am I still frozen? Am I good?
It's black screen. Is it black for you, C, or just me?
He's frozen for me.
Oh, no. So the Florida weather thing is that there is a tornado watch right now, which is interesting.
Oh, girl. Please be safe.
Well.
Please be safe out there.
It's okay. All right. You can keep talking. We can still hear you, though, so.
Okay. Oh, that sucks. Okay, cool. But yeah, in college I read The Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde, and that was it was like about a chubby Spanish kid, and I was a chubby Spanish kid. So that was the first time I identified myself in a book, and then I was like, okay, I've never read a book that's about me, and then I went hard. I just started reading all books from Latinx authors first, and then I just started diversifying every sort of book that I ever read, and then that's when I realized, okay, I need to do a bookstore. I need to do a bookstore because this is not cool. Kids should be able to see books, and they're out there. They just weren't shown to us growing up. So,
right.
Yeah. And now, luckily enough, people just come to the bookshop for BIPOC rec, so I was able to just do BIPOC authors and set it up that way.
Have you noticed, I guess a difference? Because you said the shop started in 2019. Have you noticed a significant difference? How has it been running a bookshop like where you started at 2019 and then, in March of 2020 we go into COVID? How's that been for you in terms of, I don't know, I guess orders or people come in and stop and buy the shop? How's that been working out for you? I know that's kind of a pain point.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the other reasons why I started the TikTok. If people couldn't come into stores, people couldn't see me in person. So how do I talk to people? And this was just an avenue of that. I wasn't big on social media. People are surprised I even do TikToks. People know I don't put my face on things. I don't do videos. I wasn't big on Instagram. I downloaded it, deleted it, downloaded it, and that's it. Right? But then the TikTok came along, and I was like, this is a great way for me to talk to people, so let's do it. And when I first started, I didn't get dancing videos, on my FYP. The things that I got were just people talking to me about science, math, teaching me things. I go, so this app is just about teaching things. People aren't dancing. Which is great because I can't do dancing videos. So then
Can't
I
or
realized
won't.
Right. Can't or won't. Yeah.
oh, it's won't. It's a won't. I act cocky, but I'm embarrassed. um, but yeah, and then I started doing that for the store, and then the online orders boomed from TikTok. Like this is literally where I get a bunch of my sales from all over the world. It's crazy. From
That's
California,
interesting.
Texas, and California are like huge customers for me, but they're all online orders, which is insane to me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then when during COVID, the BLM movement, especially in New York, was like very very high because of all the terrible things that were happening everywhere. A lot of people were searching.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was searching for books that would diversify their readings because they felt bad or they felt moved to learn more. So that was a very
Yeah.
interesting turning point during the pandemic where people wanted to learn more. And then obviously those sales went down. That upset me, but neither here nor there. Not because I
Right.
didn't get
Right.
any more sales. It's just like people were reading just because at the time everybody was reading it, but they didn't want to continue reading it. That bothered me. The sales, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Adrian, you not only
Yeah.
do BIPOC replacements for classics, which
Yeah.
very into. I have not read The Count of Monte Cristo. You offered 3 replacements for that. That's one of my favorite books of all time. So I have those on my TBR. But you also
Nice.
do BIPOC book boxes. Can you tell us a little bit
Yes.
about how you put those together and how people can order those from you?
Yeah. So all these ideas, also, I don't want to take credit for half of these ideas. They come from people on Booktok. It's all them. Someone said, "Do you do mystery boxes? Because I would love just random books that you recommend." So I said,
Wow.
I can try. I can try doing it. I know that there's like Book of the Month and all these other type of book subscription boxes, and I signed up for them like a long time ago. And especially BarkBox. That's for my dog. But
Same, same, same.
right, he loves it. That's his favorite box. And that's how I started it. And I really wanted to make sure that it wasn't just random books that I wanted. Because the one thing I learned when I did the bookshop and the recommendations is that people have very specific books that they like. So I ask them everything when they fill out the form. I ask them, what was your favorite movie? What book did you like? What do you like to do? If it's a kids box, I'm like, do they like sports? Do they not like sports? What's their favorite subject at school? Do they like comic books? Things like that. Like, what's their favorite superhero? Like, I want to know as many details as you want to give, so I can give you a good enough recommendation that you would like. And that's
Awesome.
how I started doing those book boxes. Yeah, and then thankfully, I've all the orders that I've gotten for that, no one said I've already read this book.
Oh,
So that's
that's
good.
great.
Yeah.
I try
Yeah.
not to do like the bestsellers, like that everyone's heard, that everyone knows. I try to get those like, if you like this, you'll definitely like this one, but you never heard of it because no one promoted it, or
Hmm.
if it wasn't just out there enough for you to hear about it. So I try to do
Yeah.
those the most, and so far it's been good.
So, in order to put these book boxes together, that means you have to do a lot of reading. Am I? I need to know, what's it like for you? How often are you reading? Because I can only imagine you running a shop, right? You're running a shop, and you're suggesting books to people, and you also have to read books. How often are you reading? What are you reading right now? I am just mind blown by this. That means that takes up a big part of, I'm assuming, like, your brain. So how's that all working together? Like, give us the science behind that.
Audiobooks, audiobooks saved me
Yeah.
because I never liked audiobooks. I was bougie about it. Ebooks, audiobooks, get out of here. I'm not about that life.
Same.
I'm an English major. I could never. It's physical or nothing. But I started doing these so on my website. That's where I first got the idea. I put, if you need a book rec, just click that button, fill out the form, and you got it. But then I started doing TikTok, and people started asking me a bunch of questions. Like, okay, I got to start reading a lot more.
Hmm.
So I started getting a lot into audiobooks,
Nice.
and I literally listen to audiobooks all day. When
Wow.
I walk my dog 3 times a day, right? And when I'm in the shop, I usually have it on at least one on.
Hmm.
And then when I drive my car, and I love driving,
Yeah.
so I just read through audiobooks mostly. And then
When's
if I
the,
really like the book, I break out the physical copy
uh,
because I have it in the store.
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, that's how I do it. That's how I do it.
When's the last time you read
Audiobooks
a
save my
physical
life.
book? Just like, when's the last time you read a? Yeah.
Wait.
Okay.
Okay, before this last book, the last book I just read, it probably was like a month or two, honestly, like right around
Oh,
Christmas time.
oh
Yeah,
my
but I just
God.
finished the one, and the only reason I finished it is because it hasn't come out yet,
Mm-hmm.
and it's called A Secret Identity, and that was the last book I read
Mm-hmm.
because the author is from Queens, and he has a lot of different like mystery, thriller, noir books. And this was a great book, so he sent it to me, and he was like, "I would love if you reread it." And I was like, "Of course, let me read it." It was from Queens. Queens, I'm sorry, it just if you're from my hometown and you wrote a book, you get like top priority. I
Right.
fell behind, so you get all the way
Heck
to the back.
yeah.
And he shot up, and it was so good. It was such a. I can't wait to do a video. I told him like, "This is a great book. I gotta do a video because that's comic books. It has all sorts of things that I love." It was like
Mm-hmm.
very
Mm,
focused on me. It was weird, but I think a lot of people are gonna like that book.
that's awesome. What I love so
Yeah.
much about your page is that I see books that I don't see anywhere else on TikTok and titles that I've never heard of. To your point, that's probably like a sad fact that we haven't seen them before. But do you find those books in that kind of audio book catalog, or are they? Is what's the chicken and the egg on that? Do you find the book first and then you get the audio book after? Like, where are you searching out the authors and titles?
Yeah.
Usually, okay, so this is like deep research. So when I was doing I usually pinpoint it by the subject that I want to read, right? And then it'll just trickles down from like a tree from there.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the books that I read that I recommend, a lot of it came out from the Latinx Heritage month
Yes.
that I did
Nice.
because I did every country, or I try to do every single country. I think I missed like two or three, which was my mistake. But I'll remember go back. It was so disorganized, and during that time, I also got a lot of people coming in and followers because I targeted to their country. And from there, it just branched off for me reading this book, this book, this book. This book is kind of like this author over here, but he's not like Latinx. He's like either like black or he's AAPI, things like that. So it was great. It was just like branching out from there. So I do it usually based off the subject matter or like the country that they're from, like their culture.
Wow.
And then from there, that's where I get the book, is where I read.
That's
The
fascinating.
audio book collections though are pretty like their organization on their apps are actually pretty good. I use Libro FM.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the way they stack up their collections are really good. I've gotten a lot of recs from them, like where I've read it and I go, oh, I haven't heard anybody talk about this. Why do you guys have it? It's very interesting. I don't know how they do their algorithm or who's their person, but they
Yeah.
have a good person there.
Okay, I'm gonna have to use it because
Interesting.
I don't use I'm a what's the one with Amazon? Audible.
Audible.
I don't know. In the library. In the library, right. You just mentioned that you're an English major, and we have this conversation with almost everyone.
Yeah. I did anything possible to get away from math.
Same. Welcome,
Same.
welcome,
Yep.
welcome to the
Yep.
club. But I want to ask you, are you writing a book? You know, I had to ask.
Ooh.
Is
Okay.
it something you've thought about?
Oh yeah. So
Yes.
like it's interesting 'cause I was just thinking about this the other day. Is that so in college, like you're surrounded by all these English majors, right? So
Yeah.
that's all the people you're surrounded with. You're surrounded by this creativity of people who just like want to write books. They want if you're an English major, you want to write a book. You want to do
Hmm.
stuff like that, or write a movie script. You can create worlds. And my creativity was such on a high those years, and I used to just go to bookstores all day after class or in between classes. And yeah, I did. I wrote like short books, and they were like multiverse books. Like it's like a universe. Like I wrote two books, and the reason for that is because that was my first like people need to read more books of Latinx people, right? So
Absolutely.
I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna make every character in here a Latinx character and make sure the main character is that and there's music throughout and there's like a real New York vibe to it. And yeah, it's physical. Like it's before iPad, all that. It's like on a little tiny book with
Mm.
my handwriting and it's in a closet somewhere. But yeah, no, I did do that. And then I stopped.
I mean, okay, now you got to finish it because
I was
now
gonna
I'm
say, pull it
interested.
out.
Yes, I need it published so I can. I'll come to the shop. I will come to Queens, New York to pick it up. Just put it out there. You
Yeah,
know?
it's at one point I have to get back to it. I really do. It was cool. Yeah, it was cool. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was fun to write. I feel like at all English majors, it's just a fun thing to do.
Hmm.
To create a world, especially we read so much. Like we get all these ideas, all these inspirations. It's hard not to like just want to pour it out in something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how I did it in the beginning. And then so this is the funny thing about the social media stuff.
Hmm.
I had two different types of Instagrams, not personal ones. One where I just went all over New York and just took pictures of the bookstores,
Okay.
right?
Oh, nice.
Yes.
and it got pretty big. It was solid. I was like, okay, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, I'm done. I'm bored, and I deleted it.
Oh my God.
It's just, I don't know what's wrong. It was out of college. It was like during college or out of college. I'm done. I just stopped doing it. And then when I stopped doing it, I was like, all right, what's next?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, I wrote the stories. I visited all the bookstores. I feel like I could do a bookstore, and that's how I did it. That's one of the parts of the journey of getting into the bookstore, like actually having a bookstore.
So just seeing that there, and you felt like I could actually do this. Never in your mind was it like, oh, I don't know if I could do this. You just were like, oh yeah, this is an option for me. Like I can. Wow.
Yeah, it's something like that. And also, I don't have any other options because I suck at math. It's the only thing I literally enjoy doing. So I'm gonna do whatever I can to figure this out.
Adrian, what's been the most challenging part of owning your own store? Either the opening process or just being a store owner in general. I'm sure there's a lot that goes into it.
The most difficult part would have to be the start of it. You know, the start of it, because I didn't have it. You know, it's very difficult to just come out and say I have a bookstore and then not be like a physical bookstore. Like the way things were done back in the day, you have the store, you fill it up with books, and that's it. Period. And it's books of all the books that are coming out. But starting from nothing and then having to explain this idea to people, like, this is my vision, this is what I want to do, that was a difficult part. It was great because that's how people believe in you. People were like, this is amazing, I want to do this, and all this sort of things. But that part was difficult because you never know how to sell yourself, you know. And I never wanted to sell myself as the idea. Like, I want to sell the idea. Like, you understand that this is what we're missing. And I feel like from 2019 till now, the need for BIPOC and that representation in everything, in movies and TV and everything, in every medium, has grown so much that I'm glad I did it then, because now it's like we're growing together.
Yeah.
So I feel like I didn't like jump on the train, and I hate when people see like it's not a trendy thing. Like I've been wanting to do this, and it's like it's growing, and I'm glad that we're doing it together. That movies now have more representation in it. TV has more representation in it. The books we're reading have more representation. Like it's super cool.
I think social media has also really helped you out a lot. I mean, I know you said you didn't want to sell yourself, but people seeing you and seeing the face behind the brand, and also I know you said you weren't really a big social media person, but every time I see you're talking, you do great on camera is what I'm saying. Like you come through natural and authentic, and I think that's what people really enjoy about you. And I think you kind of give people make people feel comfortable enough to ask you about recommendations or things like that. So I think you're doing a really great job, and obviously it's working. Okay, because the store is still open. Oh, yeah. You got the fancy lights on the bookshelf. I love it.
You have the fancy lights. You gotta have the fancy lights.
You gotta have the fancy lights on the bookshelf. So I just want to compliment you and say that I think you're doing great. I think you're doing awesome.
Thank you so much. And the lights was an interesting thing. So people keep asking me all the time. That's like a number one question. Mm-hmm. Where can I get that bookcase? Where can I get those lights? And the funny thing is that we have a friend of the store who he does everything. He's he's like the jack of all trades. He has made sweaters. He has made hoodies. He has made anime things. I think he wrote a comic book, but he doesn't really talk about it. But he's also like a master carpenter and builder. So he built that bookcase into the wall. Yeah. He built it. So when people ask me, I don't want to sound like an ass, but it's like, hey, I'm sorry, but you can't buy it. This guy made it for us. Yeah. And then we realized that he works on neon lights like all over the country. So we were like, can we put lights on it? He was like, yeah. Do you want just plain lights? I was like, no, I want it
the
flashing like a nightclub. I want it part.
Wow.
And then he installed them inside I am not I can't do anything. I built like one bookcase, and it's like a tiny little bookcase because my name's Adrian, and that's it. But he did great. It's amazing. So I always have it on. Yeah.
A custom bookshelf. Oh, that's so special. I love that. Any idea or chances that you might open a second shop? Ooh. Have you thought about it? Is it in the works?
I always feel like I'm Hamilton. You know, like when he said the line, 100 things I haven't done, things like that. Yeah, that's me. 1,000,000 things I haven't done, that's me. I always have like another idea or something to do. Mm-hmm. So I was on the fence about opening a different shop because I am in Queens, which is my hometown. Mm-hmm. But my hometown where I was born in, I grew up, it had one bookstore before I was born, and that's it. So I've never literally been in my neighborhood. There's never been a bookstore.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I want to build a bookstore in literally where I grew up, like where I walked the streets every day, where I went to school. So that was my idea, and I already have a different name for it. It's a whole thing, and I was this close, and I was like, okay, but there's no spaces for rent, which I'm glad. I'm glad none of the small businesses have closed. They're all very, very home family businesses.
Good.
Some that I've grown up with. So I'm like, I'll wait. And then I switched gears to the original idea. So I don't know if you guys know this, but the original idea was never to open up a shop. It was to do a bookmobile, basically like a food truck for BIPOC books.
I
Just
love
drive,
that.
Very, very cool.
drive around my neighborhood and all of New York with the books there. And it'll be 50% used books. It was 50% new books. It was like, that was my original idea, right? And there's like some things on Pinterest where people have like book mobiles all around, but New York doesn't have one, right? So everyone in the country has one. And I'm like, this is so cool. I can do this. This is dope. But then COVID hit, and I don't think people wanted to like, and it's gonna be like a walk-in one. It's gonna be like a big one, so people can walk in. People can be outside. It's gonna be all over, but people weren't really outside during those days. It was like it was pitch quiet when you went outside. So we shifted gears. We opened the shop, but now thinking about what the next step is, I'm trying to do the bookmobile again, and I'm trying to do it before the summer so I can drive it everywhere.
Would it be in one of those like white Sprinter vans, kind of?
There you go.
Yeah.
That's
there
pretty
you go.
cool. That's pretty cool.
And there's videos of how people have like built shelves into it. So I'm going to try to do the shelf right in there and then have like artwork from around the neighborhood. I'm going to have artists that I know from the neighborhood, BIPOC artists, of course, painting the van, getting the design ready. But yeah, I think that's probably the next step. Yeah. And I want it to be the next step because I love driving and I love road trips. I kind of want to just go out and meet all these people. Like all the people that follow me, I want to go everywhere.
You're one of those people.
Adrian, you and I are going to go on a road trip, just the two of us, because Sierra says she hates. Sorry, C. Bye.
I will fly to meet you, though.
I'll drive to you. You don't have to do the driving.
Okay, I'll take it. Come on down. Come on down.
You know, like,
fun. That's a great
idea. I didn't realize I like road trips until maybe like 2 years ago. I drove all the way down to Florida from New York, and I was like, oh, this is my thing. I'm a driver. I love it. And I drove back and forth. I did it twice last year.
Oh my God. That's 2 times too many, friends. Oh my
That is funny. Before we get to show and tell, I want to ask a question. This is a little off topic, and I don't want to take us too far down this road, but you've mentioned a couple times superheroes and a couple times multiverse. So I do need to ask, what's your favorite superhero, and are we going to see any Latinx superhero created by Book Poppy in the future?
Ooh, that's cool. Okay, no, because I can't create a cool superhero. I've tried, I've thought about it, but I can't do it. But I know a lot of people who do, though, and I can't wait to introduce them more. It's just people, not a lot of comic book followers follow me on this page. So I was thinking, how do I get more comic book criteria out there? Because TikTok has a bunch of them, and I follow them, and I've met them at Comic-Con, and they're so cool, such cool people. But my following doesn't really read comic books, but I really want to start promoting more of those. But my favorite superhero, basic answer, is Spider-Man. That's the basic answer because it has to be. He's from my neighborhood. He's my first superhero. If I have art in the walls, that's my number one. But the other answer is Daredevil.
Oh.
That's my favorite superhero. Yeah, and that's like before the movie and the shows and all that.
Yeah.
And that's just because he's just like in the streets of New York, right? He has a disability, which I love. I love that representation of the disability. And yeah, and just he was always great. Like he's a lawyer too. I almost became a lawyer. I was like this close, and I was like, I'm done with school.
It's never too late. You could do both. I'm always telling people to do the most, so don't listen to me.
Yeah, no, it's a good advice.
I'm like, do all the things.
I give similar advice. Like, just do whatever you want. Whatever you like to do, just go do it.
Absolutely.
Plenty of time.
All right, I think it is time for us to switch gears. Adrian, it's time for us to show and tell. Every episode we have our guests bring a show and tell us what they really enjoy, what they don't like, just anything that can kind of represent you. So, Adrian, what is your show and tell for today?
I don't have it to show, but I can tell you guys. It's Bookshops. It's a book called Bookshops by Jorge Carrion.
Okay.
It is. So when I opened the bookstore, this was the main thing that inspired me in the store. And if you read it, you'll realize like, oh wait, this a lot of ideas from this store are in this book, and that helped me more than the business book because I devoured business books because I needed to figure out all these things. But this book was better for me personally than the other ones because this man is just like all of us. He loves reading. He loves books,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But on top of that, he was able to write this book and pitch the idea that he wanted to go all around the world, and visit bookstores and speak to the owners, speak to the people that visit these stores, and ask them what's magical about it, all these sort of things. And he even spoke about the history of bookshops, like how we went through different periods of times where, like the 20s, like the great, like Ernest Hemingway, F. Scott Fitzgerald, like the different types of periods and how reading was viewed by the world. All right, and the only reason my store is called Bookshop is because of this book, because I was the original way that people used to call them instead of bookstore. And I was like, it feels homey, that feels cool. I'm gonna call it a bookshop, not a bookstore, and that's the main reason why I do it.
Wow.
But yeah, this book is such an inspiration for me. I love I don't recommend it that much because not the regular reader, like a person who just reads on the like one book a month or 2 books a month. They don't really want to read a whole book about bookstores, right? So this is a very niche type of book. But it's such a good book. He also wrote a book called Against Amazon. Like, he's an author too. He wrote a book Against Amazon. Yeah, he goes hard for
Oh, snap.
bookstores.
Okay.
I was like, okay.
Wait, spell his last name for me.
Jorge.
Mm-hmm.
And his last name's Carrion, so it's CARRRION.
Say it one more time.
Jorge Carrion.
Ooh, okay. Yep.
Calm down, Sierra.
I'm sorry.
This is a family show.
I'm out. Bye.
That's the poppy part of the book. Poppy.
Bye, y'all. Gotta go.
Oh my. How many bookstores does Jorge catalog in that? A ton? Like goes
a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a ton. And they're all over the place. They're small. They're literally all over the place. And one part that I love is when he talked about like that period of the 20s when at that time the writers were the cool people. Like those are like the cool, like the reality show. If there was a reality show back then, it would be on them because they were drinking, they were smoking, they were partying all night. Like they were living their lives. Like they were the cool people, the intellectuals in the bar. Right? And I was like, that's such a vibe that I want to bring back.
Yes.
Like, I want that vibe to be like now, but just full of like BIPOC authors and everyone's just chilling, we're partying, we're having fun. And I feel like that's such a cool like little club to be a part of or to do again.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's awesome.
Hey, you'll love that book. You guys, you avid readers, trust me. Anybody who does Booktok content and loves bookstores and all that, you guys would love that book. That's my favorite book.
I can't wait to check it out.
I was going to say, Jorge, if you're listening,
I know,
please
right?
use this as your official application for Golden Lab Bookshop to be in Volume 2. Thank you.
Yes, like, okay, seriously. Adrian, your joy and your passion for books and getting people to read is so infectious. I want to know what has the community been like for you having your shop in the community? How have the people who live there reacted to you? Are you finding that it's like a community space? Are more people involved in your bookshop and what you're doing?
Yeah, so it's been really really great because it's like there's not a lot of bookstores in Queens. There's only three, four, including mine. And they're like general, right? They're not very niche down, which I feel like I know on TikTok people say niche down. But like in terms of the bookstore, I feel like the niche really helped just because I'm BIPOC authors. Like you're not gonna find that book that's on the bestseller list if it's not by a BIPOC author. Not that I think it's terrible. It's just like there's spaces for that, and I'm taking up this space for these authors that don't get a lot of light on them. And they've been very receptive to it. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful because that was the reason why I could just make it all BIPOC instead of having all those bestsellers, which gives me more space to put more of these authors that you haven't heard of, you haven't read, and it's been really, really great. And then more kids and parents have come in, which has been so wonderful. I work with a lot of schools now, which is fantastic, which is like an honor for me when a teacher tells me we want to shop with your shop for our school. Do you have recs for our kids? That is like a huge honor for me because English teachers talking to me. I used to sit in the back and read whatever I wanted if I didn't like what you guys were teaching me. But no, I was like, that's cool. But no, that's like the honor, and I love when teachers come and ask English, especially the English teacher community around, because there's a lot of like bilingual schools too, like dual language schools. Because the neighborhood has so many different types of cultures. When they come and ask me for recommendations or if they can support me and what I can do for them, that's really cool. And I want to bring the bookmobile hopefully one day to these schools so like when we can all have fun, we'll have a party.
My God, I know you're just like
Scholastic
an
Book Fair
absolute
vibes.
treasure in that community. That is so
1,000.
sweet.
Yep.
Oh my God, you're gonna get the key to the city. I'm gonna. I'm claiming it for you. You're gonna get the key to the city because that's
That'd
just
be
so
dope. That'd be dope.
amazing. That's
That'd be dope.
absolutely
I'd like that.
amazing.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah. That'd be dope. No, I know. I love the community. It's just the one thing back to the comic books is that it's not a big comic book reading community either. And I have comic books there for free. Like I have like stacks of them for free for kids to read because a lot of times kids don't like reading because they don't think it's
Yeah.
cool. I'm like, grab a comic book, grab a Spider-Man, grab whatever you want, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool. You're reading, kid. I tricked you. Get out. Get out of here. You're gonna like it."
Hit him with the razzle dazzle. I know that's
Exactly.
right.
That's it.
They're like, "It's free." I'm like, "It's free. Grab as many as you want. I got you.
Wow.
You're hooked."
That's great.
I love it.
Unreal.
What are your favorite genres, though? I have a question for you guys. What are your favorite genres?
Ooh.
Romance? Is it romance?
It's thrillers.
It's thrillers. Okay. Love it.
I'm a big thriller girl. I love to be kind of spooked. I love psychological thrillers more than anything. I know I probably look like I would be a romance girl. I do like a good romance, don't get me wrong. But I love to be thrilled, honey. I do.
Nice. Okay.
Yes, yeah. And I'm also pretty. I have the book club too, where we read BIPOC, sci-fi, and fantasy as well. So that's where I'm at the most.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
So I was a big sci-fi and fantasy. Like that's all I read. Fiction. That's all I read. I never
Yeah.
read nonfiction. I never read romance. I didn't do any of these things. But when I opened the bookstore, people like that stuff. I was like, okay, let me diversify my read. Let me expand it. Let me read all these nonfictions and things. And it's been great. I love reading all these things. What about you, Ryan? What's your favorite?
I
Do you have a
think
favorite?
I read honestly so much of everything.
Nice.
I like a lot of nonfiction. Prior to Booktok, I like antique books. So I would go to the antique stores or like the thrift stores, and I would buy randos, and it's like just random stuff like a second book of general ignorance, and it is just little passages about ignorant shit that people do. And so
That's hilarious.
it is kind of like randomly fast. So I would open up just random encyclopedias, a Harvard, and I would just read everything. I find language really fascinating. It started a lot in 2020 with a lot of people during George Floyd and everything. I read a book called Ghetto, and it was about the origin of the term, which dates back to Ghetto, which I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct, but it was in like pre-Holocaust times where they were putting the Jews in these ghettos. And so I found that kind of stuff super, language, any of those type of things. But now with Booktok, I have like so many contemporary fiction. It's wild.
That's awesome.
And a lot that are coming from you, which is great.
Oh, nice. I love to hear that. Those antique books, they have hilarious titles like that. And it just cracks me up because people donate them to me. They're like, hey, do you want these books? And there are people from the neighborhood. I'm like, sure. You want like $5 for it? I'll take whatever you want. Just give it to me. And I use them like decoration for the front, for the front window. But they have one of the most hilarious titles I've ever seen. Like, they're just so funny. I love those antique books. They're so cool.
Yeah, so I probably
Ryan, you never shared that with me before. I have to come and read that now because I want. Was it called The Book of Ignorance?
The second book of general ignorance.
The second book.
Oh, there's a first one.
Yes, and it says a quite interesting book. Okay, yeah, no, so it's pretty funny. The first thing is who made the first flight in an airplane? How many legs does an octopus have? It's like all kinds of random, just.
It's simple facts, but like from back in the day. Okay.
Yeah, it's like it's like random.
I like that. That's cool.
I was thinking way more crude.
Oh,
but
no,
okay.
There's a couple of those ones. There's ones that's called Words. I think it's Words to Live By. That is like, it's wild.
That's on your bedstand. That's on the bedstand. That's not
No, that's Filthy Shakespeare.
Hey.
I think it's time for us to switch over to our quick wit rapid fire. Adrian, it's going to be 10 easy, quick questions. Ryan's going to start off, and we'll alternate back and forth. If you can't think of an answer, you can say pass, and we'll bring it back up at the end.
All right.
All right.
Adrian,
Ryan, you can take it away.
At Book Poppy, are you ready for some quick wit?
Let's do it. Let's get witty.
Let's get witty. Morning, noon, or night?
Ooh, night, for sure.
favorite book growing up or your favorite book from high school?
Ooh, favorite book from high school? The Great Gatsby. Embarrassing. Yeah, just,
It's okay.
yeah.
Where are you a regular?
Regular at. Ooh, where am I regular at? Oh, my pizza place. The pizza place I've been going to since I was 6 years old.
Mhm.
Always go there. Personal Pies, best pizza in the world. I love it.
Celeb that's a crush in your head or a celebrity friend that's a friend in your head?
I think the whole Harry Potter cast is my friend, but crushes? Zoe Kravitz comes to mind right now.
Not a
Ooh,
bad one. Not a
Zoe
bad
Kravitz
one.
right now. She went hard in that movie. I can't.
So good.
She did.
Every day.
If
My
if you
FYP, it's Zoe Kravitz.
all cat suits,
I don't see
okay.
a lot of Batman. I'm like, Robert Pattinson? That's interesting.
If you could take us and Zoe anywhere in the world tomorrow, where are we going?
Oh, New York. But in a very specific time. So either during New York Comic Con or BookCon. You guys haven't been to BookCon?
I've never been to either, so I'm down
No,
for
but
both.
we accept the invite officially.
Yes,
I
I'm
go
coming.
hard. I cosplay. We going. We do it all. We go all out. We do it. We
We
do it
have
big,
to
dude.
set something up because I've never been, and
We're
afterwards
coming.
we'll talk about it. We'll talk
Yes,
about it.
we're
Okay.
I
Do you fall asleep to music, TV, or nothing?
Everything. I fall asleep in a museum. I've done that before. I fall asleep in every area I could.
What?
In
That's
any,
chaotic.
I'm with
not
you.
even like fully laying down. I'll just be in anywhere my body is. I'll knock out. It's the craziest thing. Yeah.
Adrian, you said you cosplay. What was your best Halloween costume ever? But you can give us a cosplay as well.
Ooh, when I was young, my favorite Halloween was Scream, and like the blood was coming down the mask. I was the king of the block. I was the king of the block. My favorite cosplay though, ooh, that would have to be. I was Kraven the Hunter from Spider-Man, and
Ooh.
if you don't know, he wears like the leopard print, like
Hmm.
fur all over. He's like a bad guy
Oh,
of Spider-Man, and the reason it's my favorite, it's not. I didn't have any like big things. I've done bigger than that, but it's because I went like shirtless, just with like the fur vest, because just like he is, but he's much more muscular than me, like 10 times so. But I was like, it felt I've done cosplay for so long. I was like, I'm comfortable now. Let's just do it. Let's
I
just get
love
it.
that. Yes, come on,
Amazing.
confidence.
Yes.
Oh, hold on. What is your theme song or your favorite karaoke song?
Ooh, theme song? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
literally anything in Jay-Z's discography, honestly. Probably the early stuff. That
Mm-hmm.
hypes me up. I do that when I need like a confidence boost or I need to do something. Anything Jay-Z. Um, yeah, that's probably number one.
Awesome.
Love it. How many books have you read this year?
Ooh, we're probably hit are now 20,
It's a good number.
maybe,
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
20. Yeah.
Last
There's a lot of books
question.
unfinished because I read a bunch of books like in this, like together. So I'm like, so yeah.
Last question. What was the last thing to make you smile?
The last thing to make me smile. Ooh. Oh, the comments on my last post of me dancing ridiculously, where they said, "Give," because at the wedding I wanted to just give everybody book recs. They asked me about the books. I was like, "But what are you reading now, though? I don't want to get into it. Let's just party. It's okay." But people were like, "Give them the book recs. Give them the book recs," and that made me smile because I literally looked at the comments and then I started this podcast. But yeah, that was cool. I love the people that comment on my. I try to comment on everything back. It's just I love the people. It's so much fun.
Awesome.
Yes.
You did it. That's it. 10 questions. Very easy. Congrats.
Oh, that went. Oh wow, that went quick. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
pretty good.
it did. It did. Adrian, thank you so much for being on today's show. We really, really appreciate you. I've enjoyed talking to you. Can you give
Thank
everybody
you.
a rundown where they can follow you, all details about the shop, whatever you want people to know? Throw it out
Yeah.
there.
TikTok is Book Boppy, just like Champagne Poppy Drakes, but
Hmm.
with books. And it's called the Golden Lab Bookshop. That's on Instagram. You can follow me there. But yeah, and if you just need Rex, put it in the comments or just email me, whatever you guys need.
Awesome.
And we're
But thank you
coming to
guys so much. This is
BookCon.
so cool. This is so cool.
Ooh.
Yes,
Yeah.
let's all go cosplay, do whatever we need to
I'm
do.
serious. You
Oh, I'm
think I
into
won't
it.
come? I'm coming.
Let's do it. Let's coordinate. I want to do this. I love BookCon. And the reason why I love it so much is because it's just like TikTok. It's a
Mhm.
community. You go there. There's no one arguing. There's no fight. There's nothing. You're literally all there for your love of comic books for New York Comic Con or your love of books at BookCon. And it's
Yeah.
just such a cool. And that was like my first like instance of like, oh, there's community around here, and this is wonderful. It's such a good feeling. It's such a great feeling. But yeah, let's do it.
Awesome.
We're in.
Yep.
All
Thank you guys
right.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. How you doing? Breathless?
I am. I am. I love it. Intellectual, educated man. I do. I really do.
And making a difference in the community.
Oh, whew. Turn the heat down.
Fan you from. I'm gonna fan you from where I'm at.
Thank you.
Adrian is awesome. Adrian is one of my favorite accounts on Booktok. I adore. But what a cool conversation. The fact that store has happened relatively quickly. I mean, 2019.
Yeah.
That's a quick turnaround. But I love that Adrian's been a book lover.
Yes.
And always had that kind of itch and thought about BIPOC creators, which is interesting. And I have seen a lot of really good, as a white person, it's really nice to have someone who posts things and tells you when there's a book that is BIPOC centered, but not written by a BIPOC person. Because we don't always, it's not generally that I like Google the author when there's a good title that's recommended, but there have been a couple pieces that Adrian has posted about that it's like, hey, by the way, you think this is a great book about a BIPOC character? It's written by this white person that has knows nothing about this community or anything. Read this instead. And it's been super helpful. But I loved the fact that the educators are coming and that it's kind of that author focus.
I had that
That's a bigger
written
piece
down.
than just, it's so cool.
You can really tell, like, I mean, even just his regular voice when he's talking about books, like his face lights up, his eyes go bright. Like, you can tell he's very, very passionate about what he does about reading and getting people to read more BIPOC and like the students and whatnot. Like, that is so special. I know he's like a gem in that community because that's so important. And you think about, how many parents are trying to get their students or their kids into reading and what he's doing. And then like the idea of a bookmobile.
Okay, and it's gonna work in New York. The last time that I was in Brooklyn, there was a cool thrift van kind of vibe where it was like you walked in and it was a full shop with racks of clothes. It was awesome. And what I like is that the bookshop is just probably the beginning and just the tip of that iceberg. You know what? It's gonna be big. And I thought this was really cool, and I know that I brought it up at the end, but the fact that Adrian leaves comics for free.
That is so sweet.
In Queens, in New York, I bet there are a lot of kids who walk in who might have never been able to get that or wouldn't have seen it. And then all of a sudden that's opening up. I loved when he was like, haha, gotcha, suckers, you're reading.
Yeah. You didn't even know it, and I got you. And that's a wonderful way to loop people in, because they might have an interest in reading, but maybe they don't have money or they're you never know, right? And so you
They
get
might
them
not know
in,
it, yeah.
and they're reading comic books, and next thing you know, they're coming, okay, well now I want to learn something else, or maybe something happened in a comic book and it leans toward a different genre, and now we're getting to you to read like books with chapters and things like I am just so excited for like his future and what's going to happen for him. I don't know what else he has, if there's going to be a second shop, but I fully support him. I think he's going to be amazing. And listen, that custom bookshelf, he might need to send that guy's number to me because I need it. All right?
I was thinking about you with your other situation happening. I thought, ooh, you need to pass on some cards and that kind of thing.
Yes.
Also, let's talk about this. When are we going to New York? We have to find out when BookCon is. I didn't realize that there was a BookCon.
Never heard of it.
But if the bookies, are dressing up and doing makeup and shit and doing cosplay, Sierra, we're going. We're going.
I'm signing my name for the list right now.
I need the parameters on what kind of characters I can and cannot, what kind of mechanics I can and cannot have. But I do want to know.
That's so exciting. And you know what I love? I love that he's very just like, New York. He is New York to the core, right? He is very for his hometown.
Raised. Okay, how cool do you think that the kids in that neighborhood and think that Adrian is? Don't you think that the kids who are like walking past that shop think that he is the coolest freak? I mean,
yes.
That And I love that your question, like, what is that like in your community? Because those boroughs in New York, they are tight. Mm-hmm. They are tight-knit communities. A lot, you see the same people. One of my best friends lives in Queens, and it is awesome. She's Turkish. There's a big Turkish community there too, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But I just was envisioning when he said he put out that stack of comics and that there's a lot of kids and people coming through, I just thought they are probably like looking like, you are everything.
Oh my God. I know the people, I can only imagine the people really just enjoy him. They treasure him, and he's got this wealth of knowledge, and he's really just doing the work to just make sure that it's a smooth running thing. To listening to audiobooks all the time, just so that you have that knowledge and then being able to go back and pull that knowledge for recommendations for people. That's not easy.
Nope.
That's not easy. I wonder if he keeps a notebook of some stuff or a spreadsheet, because that can't be easy. But man, he's doing it. I'm just so excited for him. I am so excited for him, and
I loved it.
He's hot.
A friend.
I just.
You're in love.
Let me get the hearts. Let me get the hearts out of my eye.
I also I love that book rec and the chat about how that sparked the whole piece, because there has to be really cool stories in there about what those book owners said. I bet there's a lot of those shops that are still there, because I know he said it spanned a long period of time, but I can't wait to pick it up to see. I wonder if there's a local bookstore here that the person was interviewed. I feel like that makes the experience of going back even more rich when you kind of know where they've come from and all that.
That's such a beautiful thing too, of being inspired by something, and you never know who you're inspiring when you put work out. And for him to say that, I read this book and I was like, oh yeah, I can do this. That's so powerful. I always tell people that reading is power, reading is knowledge. And every day I'm proven correct, because he read that book and was like, I can do this. That is so beautiful. I love it.
It's insane.
I love it.
And you now have some inside information that, to your last point, that Zoe in the Batman was a good one. So I think on our trip to New York, okay, we need to start shopping for some cat suits.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Wow, you've got your ears. You do.
I do have my little kitty.
I'll dress up as I'll come as the Riddler or something fun. Just to, nobody asked for that, but I'll be there just so you don't feel alone.
I'm asking for it. I want to see it. Oh my God. Yes, I just enjoyed him so much. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode. Please remember, we are on TikTok at sierra.and.ryan, and we're also on YouTube at sierra.and.ryan.talktok. That's a lot.
That was good.
Please make sure you are subscribing, sharing, and leaving comments and reviews. That's very, very important for us to be seen. And so just make sure you're just sharing it with everyone. And I think that's it, friend.
So much fun. I need to go listen to some Jay-Z.
I know, right? Bye, you guys.